I've done a lot of research on this plywood aquarium tank that I'm going to be building. I drew, so I'm so excited I can't even talk. I drew the blueprints of how it is, the dimensions, how many 2x4s I need, how many 2x6s, and all that good stuff. How am I going to build it, etc., etc. But I'm going to spin the camera around. I'm going to show you originally where it was going to go, and they ended up moving it over to this corner because I was going to do a 10-foot tank. And then I said, that's huge. He is never going to need a 10-foot tank. Arowanas do like, like the length, but they like the depth too. So I ended up sacrificing the length and added some depth into the tank. That way he has more of like a circular swimming space instead of just going back and forth and being kind of boring. Don't mind the mess here. I've been moving so much stuff out of this corner here so I can actually do what I need to do. So here we have where the tank was going to go. That was a 10-foot tank, and now it's going to be going over here. So I use the blue tape when I'm marking out things because it gives you a good perception on where things are going to go, how it's going to look, how far it's going to stick out. So if you plan on doing something like this, 100%, get some blue tape and mark it out. But we're going to put the tape measure down, we're going to mark it out, and we're going to see how we like it in this corner. I love how I said if we're going to like it or how we're going to like it. I'm going to like it because I got to keep my arowana in the house right near the, the office. So I'm excited. Now, a 400-gallon aquarium, as you can see, the 4-foot came out to here. And if we look up, we have a window right here. And I didn't like how close, it literally came to like right here. And I didn't like that. So I went ahead and just shortened it to 3-foot. Now it doesn't seem too bad. Like, I feel like this is a pretty decent tank for an arowana to be in. And like I said, it's 400 gallons. It's going to be a plywood aquarium. There's going to be a front panel on it. There's no side panel. I might actually put a side panel just on this side. So maybe like when I'm sitting at my desk over here, I can look and see the fish. So I might do a front and side panel, but who knows what happens. We went and jumped the gun. Yeah. Well, technically I didn't actually go jump the gun. What we did is we got the wood here, wood there. Let's go inside. I'll show you what we got going on currently, and there's a couple of changes that I made. Okay, these woods are 8-foot. They didn't actually sell like 7-foot 2x6s, which sucks. So to give you a little bit of an example, what's going to be happening here, we're going to have a brace that comes across. This is going to be our stand, right? So this is what the tank's actually going to be stood on. Don't worry, this isn't the only cinder blocks that I have. We're going to be putting 2 more in the middle here, because that should be braced quite a bit. There shouldn't have to be one in between the 3-foot mark. I'm pretty sure the 7-foot definitely needs to be supported, one on either side in the middle. So we're gonna go put those up here in those spots, and then we're gonna start building the brace. I'll put the camera up, y'all are gonna see everything. I'm just gonna put you in the corner and it's just gonna come down. You're gonna see me do everything here, but today we're just going to get the brace sorted out for the bottom of the tank itself. Like, this is just the tank stand pretty much. That's what we're designing today. And then next week we'll actually do the brace for the whole tank itself. So So as you saw that we have the brace put down for the stand technically. I don't know why I said technically, but it's pretty much a stand. But next on the agenda is going to be building the actual structure and the exposed frame that the plywood is going to sit within. Now we do have a ton of plywood. It only called for like 1/2 inch wood, birch to be exact, because if you didn't know, birch actually is very soft, if that makes sense. It absorbs what you put on it, paint, pond shield, well in this case it's going to be pond shield. So if you do this, make sure you get birch, because like I said, it soaks it in, it seals the wood with inside too as well as the outside, and it's just an extra like precaution that you don't have any leaks and everything like that. But we do also have wood filler too. We're going to be putting wood filler and wood glue within the joints. That way that's an extra precaution of sealant. This is the plywood that we have right here. As you can see, it's birch. It's thick, like this, very thick, very thick. I don't know why I couldn't find it. And then for the bottom of the stand, we just have like little 1/4 inch wood. It's birch. It isn't exactly that flimsy, but it doesn't have to really be that thick, because that's not what's sitting on it. Like, you know, we have a bottom, 2 sides, and that's what this right here is going to be put on it. It's just, this is going to be overbuilt like crazy. Like I got 2x6s, you know what I'm saying, like for the brace, and I've got 2x4s for the skeleton of the tank as well. So I know when I build my things, when it comes to stands, I go overkill. You don't have to, but I like to go overkill, because I know then personally that my tank isn't going to just blow apart when I put 400 worth of gallons of water in it. So as you can see, I got my lunch, McDonald's. I'm on a diet, but I thought today I'm going to eat McDonald's. What's next on the agenda is probably like the most nerve-wracking thing, and that's going to be trying not to move this, because I probably personally should have at least leveled the whole tank when the tank was built and the frame was up, right? Like the tank being the frame for the whole infrastructure of the tank. But me being me, I like to have everything level before I even start building upon a structure. I'm a plumber, so I work with literally a level every single day, and my stuff has to be pretty dead nuts to even pass code or, you know, anything like that, with it being plumb and level and at a pitch for drains. And, you know, when you do water lines, you want your water lines to be nice and straight in the wall, because the inspector likes to see it. So I have to literally make sure everything's level at work when it comes to water piping. So when I'm at this point, I'm like, okay, I'll just level this now, right? So this is exactly straight level. There's nothing unlevel about it. Come on. Yes, a good boy. This dude's getting so big. This is my co-partner today with our tank build. He's a little butthead. My coat looks like his bite sleeve. So as you can see, he's literally trying to eat my arm. Ain't ya? Your tail's wagging. The next step is going to be to put the plywood on, which is the really thin stuff, which is I have over here. It's like only maybe a 1/4 inch thick. And then we have a 3/8 thick birch piece of plywood that's going to be the bottom of the tank that we're going to be pond sealing. messed up. I didn't hit record. So I just got the frame that's going to be starting to be built up. Now I do have some good old some tight bond here. This stuff is just going to kind of, I'm over, you know, compensating, I would say. I know that pond shield's going in here, but for everything as far as like where the 2x4s hit the 3/8 inch thick birch wood, I'm just going to kind of get a bead, and we're going to go along the hole inside. And then when obviously I do these, I'll do the same thing because I'm double stacking the frame up on these 2x4s. I'll do the same thing in that crack. So as you can see, it looks pretty solid. It's all nice and smooth throughout the whole corners and the front side. I'm kind of happy with that. It looks good. Now I'm going to go outside. We're going to work on building the borders for each side here. And then it's time to just start stacking wood upon wood.
Right, so the skeleton's pretty much complete, as you can see. This is actually way too tall. These braces that come up and down right here, that should be the same size at the back, but it's not. I incorrectly did it, which is kind of crappy. This is two 2x4s to the right of the screen over here. Now that represents the top of the brace of the tank that the glass is going to be sat on. So now, as you can see here, from the bottom of the tank to the top of the 2x4s is the actual height that I need. Unlike over here, it's way too tall, so the glass piece wouldn't even be able to like fit in this section. So now I have to come out here and cut all of these all over again, and pretty much what I end up doing is I just grab a bloody Sawzall blade and I just Sawzall the absolute crap out of every single joist that I put in. And let me tell you what, it was the longest process of my life, because what sucked about the whole situation is I couldn't just run a circular saw all the way through it, all the way across it. I legitimately just had to get my Sawzall and cut them each and every single bloody one. We're finally back here after correctly cutting the joists to the correct length, because like I said before, I didn't do the math. I didn't like take the 2 or 3 inches away from the top of the joists like an idiot. So now these are all the correct height. The glass is going to sit in the correct place right as it should. Pretty much just making sure this is straight and level, because if you didn't know, if you end up building a tank like this, everything pretty much has to be spot on, because if you don't, and something's warped or at a different angle, or even to the point of like bowing, then your tank is obviously going to fail, because what happens to wood, it obviously flexes, it moves like... Yeah, I took my time with this section because, like I mentioned previously, it has to be pretty dead on. It can't be off, it has to be level, because, like I said, your tank's gonna weigh so much. And I, 100%, am super anal about how I do these things, because I like things level. I don't want to have 400 gallons of water go into my brand new finished basement and then completely ruin everything else that is in my basement along with, you know, my fish tank. So here is a very crucial detail to building the tank. You have to make sure everything is square, it's plumb, and correctly secured. I did, in fact, put, I think, maybe 8 screws just in this, like, 3-foot section here of this side support, because I'm putting another piece of glass right where my head is right now, because I'm having a front viewing panel and a side viewing panel. I'm not going to do the back panel because you can't see it because there's a wall there. And my desk is actually right to the, you know, the side of where the small window goes. So I wanted that viewing panel there just so I can see my fish and, you know, my build and my pride and joy swimming around happy as days. The little grippy thing that I have on the corner of the back wall and the side window here where the panel's going to be going, that isn't exactly like, you know, holding that together because it's warped. It's holding it together because these walls weigh a lot. And it was really hard for me to kind of grab them both together and sink a screw at the same time, because I'm using, like, I would say, I think 6 or 7 inch screws. So it's kind of hard to put it on the end of the screw and screw it in without it, you know, not biting and flying off and then me, like, hitting my knuckle on 2x4. So that little tool, highly recommend if you're going to do this and you want this build, go ahead and grab yourself for some of those, because they're so handy. They came in handy in the garage when I was, like, cutting 2x4s and all that kind of stuff. So it's not because my stuff's warped, it's not because it's not lining up, it's simply there just to hold it so I can straighten everything out so I can start sinking screws the correct way. Again, we're back here with the level, making sure everything is completely level. I don't want it outside of the bloody line. I want it in the middle. I don't want it breaking the line. I want it dead on, because like everybody says, we want our water within the tank and not outside the tank. left side wall is about to go in now, and I will say at this point in the build, I was kind of seeing how far this build has currently come. And like for someone like me who knows how to use a drill, right, knows how to cut wood, has never ever even thought about building a 400-gallon aquarium made out of wood, by the way, that has to be structural and the integrity has to be perfect. For me, at this point, it was all coming together. I was getting so excited with how far the progress came, and I'm not gonna lie to you. Will this leak? Probably not, but we'll see. And the pond shield's going to be the hardest thing for me to do, probably, because I'm not very good with, like, you know, adding and subtracting and doing, like, 2 parts to 1 part, and, like, that probably sounds really stupid, and most people on the internet might say, well, it's pretty easy, you just mix 2 parts to 1 part of the can, etc., etc. But I got ADHD and ADD and all that kind of stuff, so my mind's kind of stupid. Fish keeping booty of the year goes to Noisy Aquatics here. And this is how I know it's pretty solid. I weigh like 220. This thing ain't even moving, ain't budging. It's not wobbling, you know, on the braces on the bottom. The cement blocks aren't moving. This thing's level, and I know that I don't weigh 3,000 pounds or whatever it is, because that is literally how much 400 gallons of water weighs. But it kind of gives me a little bit of security that this build so far is going the way it should, and it is structurally stable. After a long, gruesome battle with cutting wood, making sure it's straight, making sure everything's level, and coming out the way I wanted it, we're finally screwing in the glass panel brace for the front of the fish tank. As you can see, I have 4 2x4s that are screwed directly into each other, and then they're going to be braced on the right side where the other glass panel is going to be going. I only do have 2 2x4s screwed into each other on the right and left side. The only ones that have the 4 2x4s screwed are going to be the front and the back. I will give King of DIY the credit for the type of build this is, because I am technically just using his design methods to his 16-foot tank, and his hasn't leaked, his hasn't broken, he did it all the correct way. So that's why it is built the way it is, because I want my tank to be just an absolute beast. I don't want this thing to break.
From the width on the left and the right, they're a little bit different. I ain't gonna worry about it. I did have to shim some, just a tad here, as you can see. That, I mean, this is solid. It ain't going nowhere. This thing is like an absolute tank. So I'm not too worried about it caving out when I put water in it and all the, you know, the pond shield cracking if it needs to settle. Like, this is the whole point of building this. It's just to see if A, I can do it, I wanted to do it, and C, it's obviously for my fish. So we're doing everything we can here probably, but we have this cross frame. And if I lift this up and show you guys, this is what you want to hear. When you cut something and then you slide it, this is what you want to hear right here. Just listen to this. That is what you want to hear, man. You want to hear it just slightly scrape. That means your measurement is spot on. It's not going anywhere. I would definitely say right off the rip, if you plan on doing something like this, for the love of God, do your research. Because, like, personally, for me, it was a struggle. Like, I had to ask countless people, even though, like, there's so many YouTube videos out there that explains this stuff. It's kind of hard to understand it when you're watching a video. But personally, for me, I prefer, like, you know, actually talking to somebody when it comes to, like, building something like this. And let me just tell you, man, like, right off the bat, it does cost quite a bit, okay? But if you're in this hobby, you will understand that it's not exactly a cheap hobby to be in. Like, you can have a couple of tanks here and there, etc., etc., but when you start getting into bigger fish, more expensive fish, you need a big and expensive tank when you have those. Like, I know that's not necessarily true all the time, but the type of fish that I'm keeping currently and plan on getting to put in this tank, they are quite pricey and they do need a lot of room to swim. So hence why we're doing the 400-gallon build. If you hear something going on below me, my dog is like right here. He doesn't like the sanding or anything like that, so he's a little bit sketched out, ain't you, buddy? Let's get into a couple more things about this tank and the process of, you know, me building it and whereabouts I currently am within this build. For me, what the most difficult thing actually was making sure that your tank is completely square. Like, I know majority of people are gonna say, well, you know, if you're building something like this, you should already like kind of have the skill to make everything straight cuts, you know, make sure that your measurement from like the back to the front of the tank is completely dead on. I will be honest with you, this side over here, I'm off by like 1/8 of an inch. I'm not worried about it, you know, like, and if there was a huge thing, oh my gosh, if there was a huge issue, I wouldn't see many people doing the same thing, like, on YouTube when it comes to building this kind of tank. And at the end of the day, 1/8 of an inch isn't going to matter, and I don't care what anybody says. Like, when it comes to building something, you think, like, a house is top-notch, every cut straight, an angle isn't a little bit off, or, you know, from point A to point B, it's not completely straight. Like, it's not. It's not completely straight. It's obviously off a little bit. No one is that precise when it comes to cutting stuff, unless you have your sectional lumber that is like your 3 foot, your 4, your 5, your 6, your 7, 8, your 9, your 10 foot, whatever. They're already pre-cut. But fun fact is, I actually got pre-cut lumber at 7 foot, and I had a couple of pieces that are actually under and over 7 foot. So either way, I had to cut my own lumber. Okay, and I know how these are saw. I have a, you know, I have a whole tool shed like in my garage. Like, I have everything I need to cut this straight, etc., etc. I think what happened was, when I was doing this side, when I built the framing for the window, obviously you cut, you know, your 3 foot, and then you have like your 6 inches, I think, of 2x4s sandwiched together, like as you can see right here. I think when I installed the back one, I didn't put my square on it and make sure it was all square and then tighten it up. I think I like just pushed it, put a level on it, and was like a straight, and then nailed it in. Well, screwed it in, I should say. Number 2 would be if you do a different stand. I went the cinder block way because there's a lot of people over the internet who recommend, like, A, it's cheap, you know, and it's effective. It can hold quite a bit of weight. I think I spent $28 on 3, 6, 9, 12, 18, like 24 or something like that. 24. Dude, what do you want from me? I think I spent roughly like $26 on the cinder blocks, which to me, that's chump change. Sorry, my dog's biting my hand. I think I spent like literally $26 on cinder blocks. Cheap, right? Now, you know, you could probably build a wooden stand for way more that may possibly hold a little bit more weight, but it's only 300 gallons or 400 gallons or whatever it is. I think it's 400, sorry, 400. And I think it's like maybe just over 3,000 pounds, which these cinder blocks are 100% gonna be fine. I will say, you know, King of DIY always is on point with his stuff, and he has a 16 foot by 3 foot, I think, fish tank on cinder blocks itself. Has it broken? Has it chipped? Has it blood busted? No, it hasn't. So I went away and did a stand. That was obviously cinder blocks. If you want to do a wood one, then go for it. If you're already going to spend the money on a tank like this that you're gonna build, you clearly have, you know, the money to build it. Ow, he's chewing me. So if you want to build wood, then go ahead. I just wanted it to be cheap and effective, and it worked. I mean, it was less work for me to build a stand, you know, out of cinder blocks because it's quick. As far as cuts go on the tank, like the plywood and stuff, I do have gaps, and in a second I'll show you. I have gaps where you know, the birch plywood meet each other. But again, going back to YouTube, a lot of people have done this, and their gaps are bigger than mine. I think my bigger gap is actually on this back. You can actually see it. It's probably a little bit over 1/8 of an inch, maybe be 1/8, to be honest. To be honest, it's fine. Like, you're gonna fiberglass it. Like, it's getting fiberglassed, you know. I'm doing at least 5 coats of pond shield. The most expensive thing on this tank up to this point is going to be the birch wood. Now, for 4 foot by 8 foot birch, I think like just over 1/2 inch thick, runs me $80 a sheet. And I had to buy 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I had to buy 6. And the only reason why I had to buy 6 is because I messed up my cut. I got home, I was really pumped to start working on the tank, and I ended up just messing it up. I did 2 cuts wrong, I did them backwards, so I was trying to, you know, use the leftover wood from, I think it was the bottom, yeah. I had leftover wood from the bottom that I could get maybe 2 sides out of it, because my sides are only, I think, 36 by 36 or something like that. I was like, perfect, I'll just use that. Well, long day at work, came home, went to go do it, completely messed it up, had to go out and buy another sheet. And luckily enough, I got the 2 sides completed. Now, I do have a bunch of like spare birch wood, right? And I'm like, well, I could probably just kind of like, I could probably go ahead and just cut them up, right? And just do panels, just do 2 panels together, cut them straight. And I was like, nah, that could be a breaking point. You know, if you get 2 things, it could blow out, whatever. So I said, well, screw it. I'm just gonna go out and buy another one. So I took the Subaru, went to the hardware store, literally cut the pieces in half and stuck them in the back of the car. I actually did break some stuff in my car doing it. Wouldn't recommend that. You have a truck, use it. If you don't, rent one, because clearly I messed that up. All of the like wood filler is completely done now, and we will show you, but I have done something to my foot, which is gonna affect how quickly this gets done. I actually cannot put weight on my foot currently. I was like using my heel to like smack the ice to kind of break it off the deck because it didn't stick that much. And I think I bruised my bone or something, I don't know. So I'm currently limping. I can't put weight on the ball of my foot at all. It's pulsing 24/7. Yeah, I've been told to go to the ER, but I'm probably not gonna do it. So anyway, moving on. I just wanted to tune in real quick after sawzawing the window that you just saw. I went ahead and started filling in all of the nail head screws that are inside the aquarium. I'm not going to worry about the ones obviously on the sides here because I'm getting some nice wood and it's going to cover up. I'm going to frame in the whole window here, but I just wanted to show you what it looked like. I think it looked not too shabby. I'm going to go ahead and put more over the ones that you can see here where you can actually see the hole itself. When you do this, put your little like squeezy tube on the hole, push like in and squeeze and move out, and then get your finger, push down into the hole, and then just do this. That's gonna force everything into the hole. I'm gonna go ahead and wood fill all these cracks. I'm gonna wood fill every single seam in here, and then I'll let it dry, and then obviously smooth it out and make it look good. But yeah, everything is coming together quite nicely. Every single corner and seam is completely now wood glued, which it does look great. I still have to sand the holes that the screws are in, so I'm not too worried about that, but I just want to show you how smooth these actually came out. pretty smooth. So I'm gonna sand all of these out, make them look a little better. As you can see, like they just need to be sanded. And then once they're sanded, then I can start giving the tank some paint. Ow! I gotta start giving the tank some paint, and then we will be moving on to probably framing it with this stuff, putting the doors in, and then painting those as well. Can't do anything until Poncho gets here. The window is obviously cut out now as well. I'm not really worried about filling these that come up the side, because this is all going to be covered up. Like, I'm going to frame this whole thing in so it looks like it's a structure attached to the wall, so it doesn't look so random in this corner. If you see the camera going up and down, I do apologize. Like I said, I am limping. Saying, if you end up doing what I'm doing here with the wood glue filler, whatever it is, or like the wood glue filler, you can do it, but just know you're gonna need so much more. Like, I bought 2 of these, and it got me all of the holes around the whole tank. It got me all of these corners. It got me halfway on this corner, well, past halfway. And when you're doing it, all you need is a little bit of water, right? Just, you know, like your silicone in a tank, you know what I'm saying? Just go ahead and just do your bead, do a thick bead, so it pushes in the gap. Dap your finger, probably dap 2, you know what I'm saying? Go across it like it's slippery, then change, then do it again. Because if you don't, the water's gonna absorb into the glue, and then you're just gonna drag everything with you. You wanna just smooth it out with your finger, and then you can get nice looking joints like that, with just a little bit of water on your fingers, and pulling all of the glue away. I have so much room underneath this tank, you know, because it is 7 foot by 3. So I'm trying to debate on how I want to get the storage underneath to be, you know, beneficial to me, and I can use that room for either 2 FX6s or a sump, right? My idea here is to cut the same that I've been cutting to cover up the cinder blocks. The reason why I left the gap right here, as you can see from the top of the 2x4, is because I'm going to be putting like the beveled trim pieces that you got, you know, that you can buy for houses when like the floor meets the wall. You get those half moon pieces that are kind of beveled. That's going to be going on the front to kind of give it a smooth little transition towards the tank. In between each of these, like I would say, boards that cover up the cinder blocks, I'm going to be going ahead and sticking a piece in, so obviously it doesn't look like that. Don't worry, I'm going to frame it in and make it look good. Pretty sure I can fit maybe a 55 gallon under there, and I think a 55 gallon sump is huge, or even if I get like a 30, you know, breeder or something, or a 40 breeder. I was gonna put 2 FX6s. I've always wanted a sump. I've never had the balls to do one because I'm not experienced with them, and there are a ton of videos out there explaining how to make one, so I'll just go ahead and do it with the different baffles and all that kind of stuff. I have all the glass in the fish room. You know, I have countless tanks that I can take apart, small ones too. I have like little 10 gallons. I have like a little like 2.5 gallon one. I have 5 of those I can probably just take apart and use the glass for the bevels, the baffles I should say. So that's the plan for the front. We're gonna paint all of this black. Well, it's not gonna be black, it's gonna be the same color as the fish room. You guys know the kind of color from I'm going with. And then I want to leave some of this raw. I think I'm gonna actually leave the doors raw birch like I have done in the past with all of the tank stands in the fish room. That way the fish room kind of, you know, follows us into the house, and he feels more at home because clearly he's getting a whole 400 gallon tank to himself and he's 10 inches. We are now framing in the front side. As you can see, is I'm just trying to use as much of my scrap wood as possible. These are obviously all the same size, the same as what's going to be put in the center here. There is a big gap right here, as you can see, but that's all going to be wood filled in. I'm going to make the sections here and these supports look like it's all one piece. It's just scrap wood I have, and I'm not going to go and buy a brand new sheet for $80 just to cut it up so it's all one piece. So all we're doing, we're just going to cut out sections. We're going to screw them in, wood fill all the holes, wood fill all of the gaps, sand it down so that it will look like one continuous sheet that is on the front side of the tank. And then we have our doors going in here where the 55-gallon sump is going to be set up. We just sanded down all of the gaps that are in obviously the two sections where I just used some wood that I had lying around, because I already explained that I'm not going to go out and buy a brand new, birch, back wall that's like 4 foot by 8 foot. When I have a bunch of scrap like this, and I can just pop up here and then just obviously fill in the lines. And you can tell that they're there, but sorry, I'm out of breath. I'm sanding, obviously, and it is a very tiring job. But as you can see, it is smooth. I don't really know. I mean, you can kind of tell where the joints meet because of where it changes colors. But besides that, when there's paint on it, you aren't really going to tell. You might be able to tell right there. I should actually sand that down a little bit, maybe fill in that hole. Or the paint would do it. So we're going to wipe it down, paint it, and see how it looks. Hopefully it turns out to be pretty cool. Man, you can't even tell that there's a line in the middle, like, at all, where the two pieces come. Obviously, it's very, very fresh paint. That's why it kind of looks a bit shiny and stuff in certain places. But the only place you can tell that it's two pieces is from the top. But I'm not too worried about that, because we're actually putting a piece of birch wood across the whole top of the thing to hide the joist. It's going to get framed in, if you understand what I'm saying. But I can't do that until we get the glass, because I want to silicone where the glass meets the front side of the tank itself. I want to go around the whole window with that. And if I do that, and I install the birch like skeleton right now and cover all the 2x4s up, then I'm not going to have the ability to actually silicone the outside of the tank as well. So we're not doing the inside. We're just going to be working on getting the outside completely done. I know I was speaking to a friend a couple of days ago, and they were like, man, you should paint the cinder blocks. And I was like, nah, I'm going to cover them up. I genuinely think, now looking at it, even though there's a door that's going to be right here to access the sump, I feel like I'm still going to paint those black. We'll see. I don't know. I just hope that I cut these bloody doors completely square. If not, I'm screwed, and it's going to look really bloody weird. So we will see. I'm not too sure what I'm going to do about this section, though, right here, because this is where I'm going to slide the sump in. As you can see, we've got a ton of room under the under the stand itself. I know a 55 is going to fit in here, because I spoke to someone about it. So I know I can slide the tank in. I just don't know what I'm going to do after the tank's in. I can't really put a... this dog. I can't really put a door here, because obviously the countertop for the fireplace here is currently like right here. I might have to do like a 2-door thing, if that makes sense, and see the measurements from this cinder block to that corner, and then maybe put a piece of wood from here over, and then stop it right where that corner is, right where his nose is, and then just do a little door for this section and just have it open up, like, away from me. That way I can access it. And then it's obviously all completely boxed off, because we do have 2 cats and they are kind of wild. So I'd hate to one of the cats to get under there and fall in the sump or something like that. So yeah, that's the progress so far. I think we're going to go ahead and start cutting all of these sections out, frame the window in on the outside. Obviously, this is we can only do this because Pond Shield hasn't shown up yet. So I do have a bit more sanding to do on the inside. As you can see, with like the holes kind of need to be sanded a little bit. Done these right here. Done all of those. Done the sides. It looks great. And I'm super pumped. I'm super excited. I can't wait for this to be finished. But it's going to take a time. It's going to take some time. Not the time, but it's going to take a lot of time. But besides that, I think I'm very happy with it so far. Like, it looks so good from a distance. It really does. And like I said, you cannot see where those 2 boards come intact with the other 3. You just can't. And it looks so good. Like, look at this. You cannot see it. I'm so proud of myself right now. Wood filler, you're the bomb. I did just realize after putting that panel on that when I leak test this, I'm not really going to be able to tell where it's leaking from because I have these panels on. So as far as like framing it in, I call this part framing, like finishing the whole tank. I think I'm gonna hold off on framing the rest of this in because, yeah, I'm not gonna be able to see if there's any leaks coming from the front because they're obviously gonna leak like through here, right? Sorry, through here. And now I have this giant front panel on. I won't be able to tell if it's leaking or not unless it drips on the floor. So I'm gonna hold off on all of the framing until that stuff comes. So epoxy is in, and let me tell you what, as you saw by the bloody thumbnail, we have a shitload of it. I think I bought 3 kits of 1.5. 3 kits of 1.5 that should give me enough coverage because I do believe the 1.5 quart cans cover like 60 square foot. And you gotta remember, you should probably do your research on how much is going to be absorbed by the wood in those, because you have to think about it, you know, your wood's going to absorb a coat, right? So that's probably going to be so much square foot. I think my tank, I want to say roughly it might be 50 something square foot. So if one kit does 60 square foot, then that 10%, you know, or the, you know, whatever it is, that 10% of like absorbance that goes into the wood, I'm going to be fine. I've got a lot of playroom. Plus, I've got 3 kits. So I've got technically 3 coats of this stuff that's going on. And then the front panel obviously isn't solid. So I'm looking pretty good right now. So I'm going to start mixing this. I'm going to probably do half a can at a time. I'm not going to dump it all in one, even though I'm pretty sure I probably could just dump it in and then mix it and just throw it up ASAP. But I've heard this stuff can get real hard. So anyway, enough talking. Let's get into it. Whoever designed these, must I say, okay, like this, look at the state of this can. This can is just absolutely beat up. They literally came like that. This one's not too bad, but I have a ton of mixing containers. I'm gonna mix everything in here, stick it in there, roll it out, go crazy. I honestly might just say screw it and just mix these both together, get like a little bit of alcohol. The cool thing is about this, it actually tells you there's 2 different ways you can do it. If you have a smooth surface, then you do it this way. If you have a rough surface, you do it this way. It said 2 cups to part 8, but I'm pretty sure you could just dump these together because they're both a quart each, or a quart and a half. Pretty sure you can just dump these in because I'm pretty sure the resin right here, I think there's like half in here. So I think that's your 2-to-1 ratio. I could be wrong. Do not criticize me in the chat and go crazy in comments. I'm sorry. I'm trying my best here, but and then it gives you the option of adding some alcohol. What this does is when you apply it, it pretty much just gives you more play with the product instead of like trying to stress out. It's really, really thick stuff. The alcohol actually thins it down and allows you to apply it to your surface a lot easier than, you know, without it. So I'm gonna go grab some, get this on. I'm just gonna put you in the corner pretty much. Like you're gonna be pretty much up here. You're gonna be moved around and I'm just gonna get paint in. I think I'm just gonna pour it all and I'm just gonna go crazy. That's what I'm gonna do. I have never been so stressed in my life when doing something because I know A, this stuff is very expensive, and B, it gets everywhere. I'm pretty sure I have some on my nose. If you do it, wear gloves. Just wear gloves. Trust me, I got it everywhere. I did not use the alcohol method because I could not find a store that had them. So I just went ahead and did straight, went, you know, balls to the wall, went crazy, tried to rush it. I got a lot of drips because I didn't know how thick to put it on, and it sucks. And I will say this, you put it on a roller, it will just stay in that one spot. You can roll up and down sideways. I had to really push and, you know, push the roller into the wood and then like kind of roll it out to kind of spread it. I would definitely recommend alcohol. The next time I do this, I'm definitely doing the alcohol method because I have a lot of drips because of how thick it is. I did coat the ever living crap out of my seams. The seams are by far the thickest that is on this aquarium. So I'll spin the camera around and you can kind of see where I went kind of heavy and where I went kind of light because it already looks like, especially in these spots, it already looks like it's done, you know, because it's so thick. But we'll spin around, check it out. Do not use a small one. You can use a small one for the corners. I just used a brush. I coated the brush, dumped it in there, and then just kind of, you know, did my bloody thing. But you can kind of see a bunch of fibers in the back too. If I go slow, you can kind of see all of those little speckle, little fairy things. That's off the roller. If you do it, do not get a fluffy roller like I thought would be a good idea. You know, more fluff, more bloody paint, right? No, don't do it. That's crap. Garbage. As you can see in certain areas, there's a lot of thickness in certain areas, which is fine, like I said, because I got to grind it down anyway. More the merrier. 1.5 quarts did, in fact, do this whole thing, and including me going back over in the corners, as you can see, that's starting to kind of bubble up, not bubble, but like pour a lot. It is self-leveling. So I know my corners are going to be absolutely solid, along with the ones right here, the ones that go up in this corner. I don't understand that. That's really weird to me. It's like it's not taking to that certain area. So what I keep doing is I literally just grab my brush, and people are probably going to get mad at me, but I grab my brush to kind of like fix it. I just get a little bit on it, and I just go to this spot, and I literally just do this, just so it takes to the wood. Don't know if it's gonna fix it, but we'll see. It has fixed it in some areas. That's literally the only area that I saw. For me, first time using it, it's pretty straightforward. I didn't have any measuring cups. I literally just dumped the whole thing into these and then called it good. And let me tell you, this stuff is very thick. I got it on my hand again. If you do this, wear gloves. It's absolutely terrible. There is quite a lot of epoxy still left in there. I hope that doesn't affect my outcome here. Let's see how much is in there. Man, that is still quite a lot of epoxy. Oops. So maybe this might not even set correctly. I honestly, at this point, I don't even know. So, you know, I did my research. I did everything the right way, you know. But I think it looks nice. I went with the sky blue. I thought that was actually kind of a nice, it's very bright. And the basement is actually kind of like a dark color. So, you know, the stand's dark. The inside's bright to maybe kind of make it look a little bit better down here. Make sure you do a lot of research. But anyway, we'll let this dry. Tomorrow we'll sand, do the seams for the fiberglass, and hopefully we can put water in this in the next couple of days. It's the next day, so it's obviously 24 hours after we did the first coat. I did go kind of heavy on the first coat, and then learned that you should probably just kind of go light. Kind of nervous now with especially my seams, because my seams are very thick, as you saw in the video before this one, like the clip. I've got to get 60 grit sandpaper and kind of just sand the whole thing all over again. I'm definitely gonna hit the seams and the corners very, very heavy, because I wanna make sure my fiberglass sticks to the wood more than obviously the epoxy and the resin. So now, I'm gonna set you guys up, and then I'm going to go absolutely crazy and sand the ever-living crap out of this sack. Sanding's complete. Yeah, it's absolutely horrendous. I have it everywhere, like in my hair. It's all over the floor. Like, as you can see, all those specks. It's all in the tank. This is what obviously it looks like. It's just a lot of fluff. I guess this right here didn't dry. So that's kind of annoying that that didn't dry. Right, so we're about to do our fiberglassing here, and I just wanted to show everybody what I am using and why I have it. So obviously we have our fiberglass. If you're wondering what fiberglass to use, you can either use like the carpet looking stuff, or you can actually use like the fiber. The fibers, you can tell what a fiber is because it looks like a lot of hairs into one roll, okay? You can use the cloth. I recommend that. This stuff is so much better. In my opinion, you can do your research, but I use the fiberglass, and I always use the little mats with the little hairs in it. We got 91 alcohol, is rubbing alcohol. We have our measurement. I think this is like 1/4 of a cup for that to the part that we need for our resin. And then we got 2 cheap little like cooking stuff that has all of our measurements on the side. Big ass brush. What we're gonna do is we're pretty much gonna mix all our stuff. What we're gonna do is we're gonna grab all of our fiberglass. I'm gonna lay everything out. I'm gonna cut our strands, and I'm gonna lay our strands exactly where they're going on each side of the tank. That way, when I mix my material, I can go ahead and coat it on. What we're gonna do is we're gonna coat first, and then we're gonna apply the good old fiberglass. You can buy these, by the way, from like Menards or Home Depot, whatever. They're just like the Bondo make. You can, in fact, use the 3M stuff if you are wondering. You don't have to have a specific type of fiberglass. You can get the Bondo stuff that are used for cars. This is what I recommend as well. When I used to do fiberglassing, it's been a very long time, and it's a bit tricky to work with, but if you just take your time and you do it, you'll be completely fine. So what I recommend doing is doing one bottom section first. So you're gonna paint all of this with your resin, and then you're gonna lay your piece over. You're gonna grab your squeegee. You're gonna push it. Don't fold it in. Never ever push and fold it in. If you don't have a smooth section like me where it kind of bevels, that's completely actually fine. But you don't want to get, your fiberglass and then tuck it in. You never want to do that. It's gonna pull. It's gonna break. Trust me, please. You want to lay it over. You want a nice 90-degree angle or a little bit of a curved one. If I can get this off. So you're gonna lay this down. And then you're gonna get it, you're just gonna kind of push it into the seams, fold up, fold out. Just do this, repeat, okay? Once this whole section's done, then you wanna lay one of your corner pieces. The reason why you want to do this is because your bottom is going to be underneath your corner. And then what's gonna happen is when you do this side, this is going to fold over. So you've got bottom, side, top, and it's gonna be laid in layers. That's gonna hold it together better on a joint. Just trust me, everyone's probably going to criticize and say it's doing it wrong. Well, I've done it for years. When I did my car stuff, it works the best. In my kit, I probably have maybe a 2 foot by 2 foot square, which is fine. Like, honestly, if I really wanted to, I could literally just tuck this like so and push it up to the corners, right? I could literally fiberglass my whole tank. I could just go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. But I don't think it's necessary. I could do it, but I think by now, like I've already kind of went too far on, the pond shield. It does look kind of shit right now, I won't lie, but it will finish up nicely. It's just the process. This isn't a clean process. It's not going to look perfect after you do it on your first coat. It's not. Look at the state of my back wall. It's sanded down. I got drips, but it's fine. Like, it's going to look completely fine. So I'm going to cut these strips and these strands, lay them across, and then I'll set you guys up. And then we'll talk through what we're doing. We have our back wall section cut out here. Obviously, my stuff was not as long as the wall itself, so I did have to cut it up. All you need is just some scissors, and then you can start cutting. I am going to go a lot thicker on the corners as much as I can. I'm probably going to bring my fiberglass right up to the corner here. That's probably what I'm going to be doing. When you lay, overlap, about 1.5 inches. You can get away with 1 inch, but I recommend 1.5 inches. This is laid over. As you can see right there, down here, that's also laid over. You can go down and then over, down and over. If you don't know what that means, I'll demonstrate. You've got first piece is down, second piece is over, and then over here, you have second piece down, third piece over. And then you overlap and then you fold it. Fiberglass strands left over. All of this overhang stuff, literally once it's dry, I can just sand that down. It's gonna be flush with the side. Again, with this, like I said, look at the mess. It is an absolute mess. But the fiberglass is in. It looks superb. There's no lifting. There's absolutely zero problem with what I've done, which is great. The sides do look a bit crazy, but like I said, it's because I'm overhanging quite a bit. But all of that will get sanded down and I'm pretty happy with it. It's just an absolute mess. Definitely wear gloves. This stuff gets on you and it's an absolute pain in the ass to get off. But the bottom of the tank is completely messed up as far as like, you know, fiberglass and spots and stuff. But I'm doing like literally like this much, you know, ponchoed on the bottom. So I'll end up just mixing a whole quart, pouring it in the middle, and then just squeegeeing it out to each side so it locks it in. You won't see all of the defects in the bottom or anything like that. I think that right there isn't a lift. That right there, I do believe is, I'll actually find out right now. I think that's just the fiberglass. Oh, it lifted a little bit, but, you know, I ain't too worried about it. Once it goes over, it'll be fine. I mean, don't do what I'm doing. I know what I'm doing. So you can just kind of pull the fiberglass a little bit and it will lay back down. So just stuff like that, like little tiny pockets, it's fine. That will settle back down. So, whew, it's done. I have completely destroyed the tank, but it's fine because I'm putting a nice piece of pine and stuff over here. Kind of looks like that and kind of looks like the front. So that's getting laid over, and I couldn't frame the rest of this in because I need to leak test it when we get the glass anyway. So I'll finish doing the framing and the painting later on, but I ain't really worried about all of this. It is a mess, you know. I'm legitimately just showing you the facts, you know, about this stuff. And when you take on a project like this, it's going to get messy. You're going to destroy stuff. Just make sure that you kind of like take it into consideration. If you're not covering this up and you end up doing a build like this, go ahead and just like lay some tape down if you want to keep it nice, or just don't paint it like I did. It's completely up to you. But my seams look fantastic too. The overlays, look at the size of the overlay on that one, and then the size of the overlay on that one. The overlays are completely fine. Like, they look great. I'm happy with it. So now this is going to cure. I'm not going to touch this for probably 2 days. And then maybe in 2 days, probably like a Sunday, I think, I'm going to come in and do another coat of ponchoed on everything, get it all nice, because I still need to hit this side. As you can see, it kind of, you hear that? Sucked it in quite a bit. I did sand, so, you know, all the spots and all the drips are going to be disappearing soon because the whole back wall is actually getting spray foamed. And then I'm going to be making my own background for this tank because the endless opportunities I have with this build is literally endless. I just said it. But I'm going to be spray foaming the back of this and making like a really cool background with some fake moss and everything like that. It's going to look cool. That's the plan. But yep, I just gotta let this dry. So I have you guys in ultra like field of view. So this is technically what I'm seeing right now. So as you could see, it does look rather decent. This is very messy, and that is okay because, like I said before, we're putting pine over it, so it doesn't matter. We're just, or sorry, not pine, birch. We're putting birch over the whole, you know, inside of this. So I'm not too worried about it. But for me, doing this first time, I think it looks fantastic. There's really like only a couple of like defects in the ponchoed itself. That is literally just from when I was brushing all of this. You can see, like, you can kind of see all of the fibers right there from the fiberglass. It's just that. I'm not too worried about it. The fiberglass came out fantastic. I got a lot of drips right there. A lot of drips. I just put my hair in it again. I'm not even kidding. My head just touched this and it's all dripping. So now I got ponchoed in my hair. But this is the life we live when it comes to doing what we like and what we love, and that is building a 400-gallon fish tank out of wood. So I'm happy so far. I am probably gonna get maybe one more kit. It's like 50 bucks. I think I'm gonna get one more, and then this should finish the whole thing. I should be able to get at least 2 more coats out of the 1.5 quart kits. I think there's 3 on this right now. There's 3 on this right now. I want 5 coats. I want the bottom to be a little bit thicker because I don't want to see all of these defects, because this tank is pretty much going to be bare bottom. And it's going to bug me if I can see defects. I want a nice, smooth surface. Now you're wondering, probably, well, can you just sand it? Well, you can sand it, but I honestly do not want to mess with this. I don't want to mess with it. I'm going to leave it. We can probably go around here and we can check this side out. But it is a humongous tank. Like, I got a lot of drip stains, but, like, it's okay. It doesn't matter. I got to cut that fiberglass. This is looking rather decent. Trimmed all of that. Trimmed all of this right here. Trimmed all of this. And again, there's trim going up, so we're not really going to see that. But this is the view from the side panel. And look how fantastic the light just bounces off it. I'm super stoked. And again, the fiberglass looked great. I'm very happy. I just hate the fact that you have to rush so quick when doing this tank. Like, not doing this tank, sorry, doing the poncho. You have to rush so much. And holy shit, man. Like, I start sweating. I'm stressed. I'm trying to get it done. Like, I really don't mind the way this looks. The wood definitely got covered. Definitely. I would say maybe at the top right here, actually, I could probably hit that again. But that's the only side I see right now. But the top of the tank looks pretty good. I mean, I'm not even going to be filling the water up to the top anyway. The water's probably going to be like right here. So I'm not too worried about the top, but I'm going to do it anyway because in case water splashes, in case, you know, the air decides to jump and cause some splashing, we still have to do the top brace support for this. I'm just going to be running 2x6s across, or 2x4s, one of the two. And I'm just going to build the brace up just one more taller so it looks all flush. We're going to try and do this the best we can. I'm not happy with this side, though, of the fiberglass. I mean, some people might think that looks okay, but because I used to do this a lot, and I just noticed that right there is not good. Let's hope that is still wet. It's still damp, which is good. Like I guess I just did this coat. We're going to try and mess with the fiberglass a little bit, try and get these layers to move around. I'm trying not to move it too much. I really don't want to disturb the fibers as much as I would if I was just doing it like right off the rip. But I'm just going to move some of these fibers back and drag it out and fold it around that corner so it hardens. Now again, I'm painting this, so this doesn't matter. So what this is going to do is it's going to pull the fibers out of this corner, and it's going to stretch them, and then that little air pocket should disappear. So we'll move these fibers out the way too, I guess. Fold that in some more. Now what I'm doing, I'm literally just pushing down and pulling back, like you would if you were doing cement or like building something. So that turned out to be okay. Today we were gonna put water in the 400-gallon fish tank. Unfortunately, that we have a couple of small spots in the pond shield itself that got damaged in the process of holding the glass with pressure up against the wood to press the silicone around, you know, the outside border of the glass, so it stuck to the wood. I'm a little bit upset in myself because I thought I really had to kind of put a lot of pressure on the glass to kind of hold it. I didn't know that maybe you just needed to kind of snug it up so it would hold it in place. Besides the issue with the pond shield, I'm happy, I would say, to an extent. Like, I mean, the tank looks great. The seal of the silicone looks fantastic. There's a couple of spots that look kind of poop, but there's nothing that, you know, I can't fix with more silicone on the outside of the tank that goes up against the glass. So we'll be resealing the inside and the outside around the parameter of the glass itself. Gonna fix the pond shield here soon. Hopefully it works out.
This part of the video here was actually corrupted, and I do apologize that I lost all sound. But what I'm explaining is I have two new hoses. I've got a pump that's going to be going in the tank, and then the other side is going to be going out the window. In case there was a leak to happen while I was filling it up, then I can just put the water outside instead of having it go on the floor. The laundry box right over there is going to be where I'm going to be attaching these two hoses. That's going to be going in the tank and filling it up. But this pump is literally just in case there's a leak, I can pump the water out of the fish tank.
No leaks so far, but it's not even, it's almost to the seams now where the glass meets the inside. So this is the most nerve-wracking part right here. If it starts to leak, it's coming from there or down below. But besides that, fingers crossed, this holds water. So nerve-wracking to watch this, like, so nerve-wracking.
While this tank fills up, I just want to go ahead and say the audio is incredibly loud because the water is literally just splashing all up in this new tank. But I just wanted to take the time to say thank you ever so much for everyone that has supported this build and the channel and the progression that has been happening within the videos and the channel itself, the views and the subscribers. And I also want to say thank you so much for all of the help and advice that people gave me when it came to building this. I do just want to shout out a couple of guys real quick who did help me along the way and literally answered my phone calls like when I needed them, or if something happened that was bad, they would immediately text me back right away and tell me a solution that would help or even fix the problem that I was having. Right off the rip, I will just go ahead and say Aquarium Talk TV, Gordon, fantastic person, really was there when I needed him, especially when it came to questions about filtration and how to do things and all that kind of stuff. And then you got Tom's Aquatics. This guy helped me out a lot with the glass and the structural build of it. And then last but not least, you have Joey, King of DIY. Everyone knows who he is, but the fact that he took his time out of his day to answer the questions from someone who obviously isn't really huge on YouTube, it just goes to show what kind of person he is. He wants everybody to succeed, along with everybody else that helped me, you know, Gordon, and then Tom, and then Ryan, Sasquatch, Ciglets, and all that kind of stuff. So everyone was fantastic. I do appreciate you guys. I love you. Thank you so much for making this super simple, and thank you for helping me